PICO.
PICO. Prospective. PICO Prospective.
And welcome to another edition of PICO Prospectives, your view of the PICO projection world and more. Welcome again to the show. I'm your host, George Tucker. Of course, with me tonight are our fine friends from PICO Pros. They are Rich and Paul Mergansky from the website PICOPros.com. How are you, gentlemen?
Excellent.
Good.
How you
Been
doing?
a long time, George.
It has, and it's the holiday season. It's coming upon us.
I know it is. Best time of the year.
Yeah, it keeps wanting to roll off my tongue, but I refuse to do it until it's after Turkey Day.
This is good. Pumpkin pie, pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin candles, pumpkin everything.
Wow. Too much.
So,
Much
love
too much
pumpkin.
pumpkin, yes.
That's
All right, well, also joining us today, a little departure from our normal topics, but a great one at that. We're going to be talking to Allan Dong. He is from Tactical Navigation Tools. It's a really cool product that they exhibited at the New York Festival of Light only a few weeks ago. Good evening, Allan. How are you?
Good evening. Thanks. So, I mean, it's a good night.
It's a good night. And, you know, as we were discussing before we went on air, it's not Buffalo. We're all happy about that, really.
Mhm.
right.
Yes, and I take it you're not
Absolutely.
singing any Christmas songs before Thanksgiving, right?
Just a few Thanksgiving parties, lots of food, friends. How it is.
Absolutely.
All right, gentlemen, as we are wont to do, we're going to start with the news. What's first up on our little agenda of what's new and hot in PICO?
I'll kick it off.
Yeah, go ahead.
The first thing we're going to talk about is something that we saw online about a month ago, early October. There's a company called Secret. It's actually, for anybody who's listening to the audio feed of this and not able to watch it, the company name is Secret. Again, it's spelled C-I-R. No, I screwed that up. The it's spelled C-I-C-R-E-T. Okay, so it almost looks like it says cricket, but it's Secret. What they're doing is there's two different things that they're working on. One is an app. They just have a general app which does anonymous feeds of email transactions, photos. You can share things anonymously with folks, so there's no paper trail if you want to send pictures or whatnot. The cool thing that we want to talk about for our news segment for this company's Secret is something that they were developing called a smart bracelet, which is basically a wearable device. We're all about wearable devices here on PICO Pros because there's a lot of cool functionality and capabilities for PICO projectors. The smart bracelet incorporates a lot of different things that a smartphone would normally have. It has Wi-Fi, an accelerometer, memory on it, processor, micro USB, and an embedded battery in that. The cool thing about it, though, is that it has a PICO projector. So as you're wearing the bracelet, and there's a video for anybody who's watching the podcast, what the projector does is it shines a display onto your arm. So you have basically a smartphone wrapped around your wrist with the display being displayed on your forearm or part of your arm. And you can interact with the device as if you had a smartphone on your wrist. So there's a good picture to kind of give you an idea of what it's all about.
Is that real, though?
That's the thing. I don't know.
That's what I wanted to ask about. I looked into
Yeah.
this. This looks like a rendering, yes?
We think it's a really cool idea. There's not a lot of information about this company's Secret. They keep a lot of things secret. I'm sorry.
It's
Anyway,
true.
so yeah, there's actually been some speculation about this could be a big rumor. They did take down well, I don't know if I've mentioned it, but they had an Indiegogo campaign. They were trying to raise a lot of money for their secret bracelet, smart bracelet. I think there were a lot of people that were interested in it. Suddenly, the Indiegogo campaign disappeared, and the word from the company Secret is that they wanted to go work more on the app. The focus on the bracelet was taken away from. I guess their app was the more important thing that they wanted to work on. So they kind of hid the bracelet. They say that they're still working on it if you go to their website, but their app is the thing that they're focusing on. They have an app on the Google Play Store. They don't have anything on the Apple iOS iTunes Store. I checked out the Secret website. secret company website. The front page is basically, hey, please donate a bunch of money for our app. It was actually pretty confusing. The thing that we're interested in about it is not so much the company and what they're doing. It's the idea of a wearable with a projector on it. We've seen a lot of things like this, like the Sixth Sense.
Absolutely.
By Pranav Mystery. We've seen a lot of like wearables that use Pico projectors. So this idea somebody could actually take this and kind of build off it.
Yeah, we actually funded a Kickstarter campaign, or I can't remember if it's Indiegogo or Kickstarter at this point, but we actually funded one of these crowdfunding projects called Ritat, which is a projection watch. It sounds a lot like this secret watch, although I'm not sure there's a specific app tied to the Ritat watch, but it looks pretty cool. I mean, it's, depending on your style, it's either, fairly feminine looking from what I can see so far. But early next calendar year, we're supposedly getting our Ritat watch that was for like just over $100. And if we get it, and when we get it, we will certainly highlight that on one of these future podcasts for sure.
Yeah, that's a cool. I mean, the Kickstarters and the Indiegogo campaigns are really cool, but at the same time, there's a risk. Yeah, it's like, am I really? They were asking, I think, $400 for a donation for the secret smart bracelet, and you would get the smart bracelet. Now it's too soon to tell for the people who have possibly actually given money to this if they're actually going to be getting a smart bracelet. I don't know. I'll keep an eye on it. Keep you guys posted. But it's a cool idea. But we just want to put it out there that there is some possibility of it being a rumor, but it's an awesome idea.
I have to say, gentlemen, looking at the video, it's very hard to tell whether that's graphics or
exactly.
My inclination is that it's not real projection, just based on the sameness of the visual image that they see in sunlight and in dark.
Exactly.
Okay.
What's different? I'm not.
Good observation. Right.
Yeah.
But
Even the Ritat watch is similar. I think all their mock-ups on their campaign, I think, were just images that they generated. I think they have the great idea. They just got to get the funding to make it happen.
Yeah. Very interesting.
For $400, I don't know if I'd want to at this point fund that particular one. For the Ritat, it was like just over $100, or why not?
The thing is, they're not really looking at their website, they only have two things that they're potentially building: an app and a smart bracelet. And I mean, if they had a strong technical background in terms of, hey, we've done these other projects where we've integrated Pico projectors, or we've done these cool headset things and like a Google Glass, where they've actually demonstrated some kind of capability to do some type of bracelet with a projector in it. It'd be a little bit more believable, but unfortunately, all they have on their website is an app, which basically is an encrypted way of sharing photos and that. And then you have a smart bracelet. They're not related at all.
And I don't know what the app is. I didn't get to look into it, but
it's basically like a anonymous photo share. I don't know exactly how it works. They don't have.
It doesn't seem to be tied to the bracelet, so I'm kind of confused.
Talk to me more then about the one you sent me earlier today or a couple of days ago. I'm saying it right? AXA?
Oh no, AXA.
AXA. Okay,
Yeah,
so that's
hold it
two
up right
A's.
here.
The first one's silent. Oh, look at that, and you have
I
one.
have it on site.
Oh, look at that.
PICO Pro's headquarter part 2. So yeah, if you get the video of this, or an image of this, so this is the AXA M4 mobile projector. This is the brightest LED projector that we've reviewed on the website so far. We've actually only posted an unboxing and overview type video. This thing retails for $599 on the AXA Tech website, so axatech.com. Again, this is the M4. It has quite a bit of connectivity to it. It actually has a digital antenna connection, and it's still supporting VGA, composite video, all that. But the cool thing about this one, two things. One, it has 800 lumens of output, which is the brightest one we've reviewed on the website for PicoPros.com. I know Optima has one that's about 1,000 lumens or something with an LED light source. And the thing to note, in case people are wondering what's so great about 800 lumens when I can buy a conference room projector at 3,500 lumens or something, these are LED light sources, solid state lighting, so they last upwards of 10 times as long with less maintenance, lower cost than traditional lamp projectors. So a traditional lamp projector might last you in reasonable use maybe a year, depending on your usage, and then you have to pay a couple $100 or whatever it is for the light source. This is going to last you 10 times as long. So essentially, when you're done with it and the lamp dies, you're going to just kind of throw it away less.
Yeah, and if you think that's too expensive, $400, buy one used on eBay or something like that. If they're trying to sell it, you're still going to get a lot of good life out of it.
Exactly, and the cost on these things is coming down so dramatically just over the last few years. So yeah, this one in particular is $599, but you could buy one that's 500 lumens for under $400. So it depends on what your use case is. I mean, this particular one, the M4, is absolutely perfect for gaming. It certainly could replace your TV in certain cases. You can't, you could probably project a 10-foot image, but it might be not as, bright as a giant LCD screen or something. But it's a surprisingly bright image. The other thing to note, on the bottom of the device, you'll notice this door here, if you can see it. This is an access door for embedded battery. So you have the 800 lumens when you're running in wall power mode, but it actually has a battery built into it. And it has a 90-minute battery, and you'll get 400 lumens, which again doesn't sound like much, but 400 lumens for a projector like this, you're going to be able to produce a 6-7 foot image, no problem, with fairly good ambient lighting, and it's really surprising. So for gaming, if you have somebody in a dorm room, that kind of thing, the AXA M4 is actually a really interesting buy. Instead of buying your college, your son or daughter going to college, instead of buying them an LCD TV, it might make sense to look at something like the AXA M4, so they could do gaming, all these kinds of things in their dorm room.
Study.
Yeah, study. Yeah, right. Surf the internet, sure. But it's really small, and it's cheaper than a 55-inch LED TV in most cases right now, and it's a lot more versatile. It's really small. I mean, you could actually put it in your backpack if you needed to, but it's a really compelling buy, and again, we only did an overview video of it, and we've been playing around with it in the background, over the last week or so. And we're going to post, full reviews, gaming demos, that kind of thing, over the next couple of weeks. But keep an eye out for the AXA 4 $599 on the axatech.com website. And I don't really have much more to say than that, but this is certainly for us the leading LED projector that we've reviewed in terms of brightness, and it is, if I didn't say it already, it's an HD projector, or at least 720p HD projector.
Yeah,
now, that's on the very sort of edge of being a PICO projector, right? I mean, it fits in the palm of your hand, but it's not quite the true definition.
I was going to say it's a unique projector for us because it's actually, for me, between
it's
you've used the term.
It's kind of palm size, but not really.
It's
certainly much bigger than a cell phone, right? That's a Galaxy S4. So yeah, I wouldn't consider this PICO, even though it has an embedded battery. So it depends on what your definition of PICO is. I'd call this a mobile projector, but still really small and light. It's about just over 2 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, you're not going to be able. I mean, it has its uses. That's not a projector that you're going to take on an airplane with you and watch a movie in a seat in front of you.
No.
It has its purposes, like Paul was saying, like a dorm room as an alternative to television if you don't have a space for a TV. TVs are pretty heavy to carry around and awkward. And,
yeah, I'm not carrying around a 55-inch LED TV.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has some.
But I mean, you can see in the overview video, we go through all the features, but when we go into the performance, I've tried it out a few times. I mean, the brightness, 800 lumens. Again, I say this every time. AV people think 4,000 5,000 lumens. This thing only quote unquote only 800 lumens. Lumens are a logarithmic scale, so even if you went to 5,000 lumens, this is almost it's like maybe half as bright kind of thing. So people got to understand that's a logarithmic scale. So going from 500 to 5,000 is in the brightness when you get to that point.
Cool. All right, so look for that. The video's on the PicoPros.com website. It is on their YouTube channel. Check it out there. They do a whole unboxing. Yeah. Pretty cool.
And this is one of the first ones. So.
Exactly.
Let's get to some meat and potatoes here because I've been looking forward to talking to Allan. Meet Allan Dong from Tactical Navigation Tools. Allan, was exhibiting at the New York Festival of Light. And we learned about him through some other guys that we were doing. Some of the other people who showed up on the Lighting Guy show talked about this exhibit. Allan, welcome to the show. Let's start off and tell me what exactly is this product we're talking about. It is the Eyeronman, Eyeronman. Talk to me about its genesis and what you guys were showing and how that went at the New York Festival of Light.
Oh, thanks for having us tonight. So the Eyeronman vest that you mentioned, that was created by our founder, Dr. John Ross Rizzo, who's a physician at NYU. He's slowly going blind from a genetic disease, and he basically turned that into inspiration and just sheer will into saying this cannot stand, and I will make this better, right? So the vest itself was meant to help the visually impaired and blind people get around. That was the first use idea for for the vest. Do you want me to get into the whole technical explanation of how it works right now, or do you want to save that for later?
Necessity is the mother of invention, I suppose we can say, right? And I'll bring myself up on this. That was showing the original. What you saw originally there, and those listening, was an artist's conception of what the product would look like. We'll show some more details of what the actual working model looks like at the moment. But yeah, so necessity, going blind, wanted to find a way that would be allow him to walk around and others and sensing objects around them, right, and being able to interact.
Yes. So the vest itself has a bunch of sensors: ultrasound, radar, LiDAR, and infrared, and it takes those sensors and the information that it gathers from the environment around, vibrates that information against your chest. So if I was wearing one right now, it would be able to tell that there's a desk in front of me because there would be a low solid vibration right around my midline. I would be able to tell things that are on my left and my right.
Wow.
Based on where they're vibrated against my chest. That image that you're seeing right now is our prototype. So the small cameras you see around the midline, those are currently infrared cameras that we've installed in order to try and optimize the software. And if you go to the next picture, please, you'll see that, yes, so the flap on the inside, those are actuators that we've actually just basically hacked together in order to test the software. Those actuators that you see are the tiny little circles, and they're actually the same ones that are found in your cell phone every single day when someone's calling you and it's buzzing in your pocket, right?
Mm-hmm.
The software itself is to sort of take in all that visual information gathered by the infrared cameras, and we only use infrared in order to simplify for now. We'll add more as it goes on, and it's actuator so that you have an idea of what objects are around you, how far they are, and what shape and size they are relative to you.
Now, talk to me a little bit more about the actuators. You've got. Let me step back. You said LiDAR.
The final product will have LiDAR, ultrasound, radar, and infrared sensors, yes.
Okay. So why the three different sensing capabilities that are projecting out a signal?
Because each sensor is better and worse in certain situations. So, for example, LiDAR is really, really great for getting specific distance and size and shape, but only in a very small cone. So unless we want to literally fill the entire vest with LiDAR, it would be very hard to pick up detailed information around you. We could do that. The problem is that LiDAR also gets false positives from things like smog and smoke, which doesn't affect ultrasound or radar as much. And we want to use infrared because that way we can pick up body heat. So you'll be able to distinguish, say, a statue from a living person.
Really?
The cool part about the software that we can also, the cool part about the software that we can optimize to figure out what you want to see. So if you're walking down Manhattan, say, you want to be able to tell if there's a car coming towards you, but normally you would only really care about the people that were walking around you, and you wouldn't care so much about, say, a small trash can unless it was directly in your way, right?
Right.
that mode wouldn't be necessarily that useful if you're walking around, say, on an Appalachian Trail. We want you to be able to use the Ironman vest anywhere and anytime for any use that you could possibly think of.
Right. So is the real secret sauce, if you will, of the Ironman is in the algorithms with combining the different sensing capabilities and being able to detect whether it's, depending on your environment, combining all these different sensors to say what you really care about sensing versus all the noise, quote unquote, around you.
True.
It's really a software thing, not really a hardware thing per se.
Yeah,
I know there's a hardware component,
that
obviously,
you've
but
gotten very close to it.
Okay.
No, the secret sauce is our software.
Yeah,
all of these components already exist in individual things already. If you drive your car, you already have a basic version of the distance and ranging sensors that we plan on integrating. Mm-hmm. But combining all of it and making sense of it, that is where we're producing our innovation.
I have a question. So let's say there's a ball in front of me, and the Ironman suit detects the ball. How does it exactly? I mean, does it the actuators and the vibration on the suit? Does that actually vibrate in the form of a sphere or something? How do I know that is a ball based on those vibrations? Is what I'm trying to get at, I guess.
So let's say that there's a ball at chest level, right?
Yeah.
You would feel a circle of vibration on your chest, and you would be able to tell that it's coming closer or further away from you based on how fast the actuators were vibrating. As it approaches you, the vibrations would get faster and faster and faster. We made it so it would be a fairly intuitive interface for people to use.
If I may, this is sort of like a haptic feedback. I mean,
right.
Through the definition of haptic feedback. Yeah. And where would Go ahead, I apologize.
I'm sorry. No, you cut out. What did you say?
I said it's like a true haptic feedback.
Yeah, the haptic feedback sensor was created because currently, the devices that the visually impaired use are very, very limited. So you'll see devices like this was something we were showcasing at the Festival of Light, actually. There's a pair of glasses that you put on, and it has two ultrasound sensors right here and vibrations right on the sides of the temple. So not only are the glasses really big and bulky, but you can only really sense something about 5 to 6 inches in front of your face. And forgive me, most people, when they're walking really quickly, they walk fast enough that by the time you actually feel something, you probably already hit your head on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So looking at pictures of the jacket being built, right? I'm going to bring those up in just a second. And this currently shows, even in the artist's drawings, that it was a jacket. Is there a plan to make it something beyond the jacket? Is it going to be, and forgive me for bringing in a Star Trek thing, but is it going to be like those glasses that the guy wore? I can't remember the character's name. Forgive me. He's on Reading Rainbow. That's all I remember. Geordi.
I don't.
Or is it necessary that this has to be in this configuration?
You have to be wearing the shirt because we want you to have a 360-degree field of view, basically. The sensors themselves, we might be able to miniaturize and make them more fashion-friendly than just a gigantic jacket or a vest that you throw on. But you would be wearing a shirt.
Yeah, because
actually, on that note, in the future we plan on making a shirt out of electroactive polymer so that you don't have to have actuators buzzing on the inside of the vest.
Yeah, I think you would want to, the purpose of the shirt, I guess, is kind of to tell you the height of things as well. Let's say you're walking around a room and you're walking around some chairs, you could actually move your arms around those chairs. If you were visually impaired, you would need to know if you can move your arms above those chairs, or so let's say there's a crawl space maybe or something like that. Maybe the sensors can tell you, they can buzz you on your shoulders to let you know, hey, there's an object near your shoulders, lower a little bit so that you don't hit that object or something like that.
I can almost see the technology being embedded into like gloves. So like you move your hands, and the more they vibrate, you can kind of center yourself. Like go back to your your example of the ball. If your hands are closer to the ball, you'll feel the vibration more.
That's actually a good idea.
Well, Allan, let's ask Allan, is there a plan to incorporate accessories with the jacket so that something like what Paul and Rich are discussing, or is that beyond the point?
Not particularly. If anything, we would be focusing more on the software to optimize it for different uses. So, like I said, our primary use was for the visually impaired, but we were hoping to market this towards policemen or military personnel as well, so that way as a secondary last minute warning for someone that's trying to sneak up behind you. I mean,
definitely see this
at the Festival of Light. Actually, at the Festival of Light, I met this one bicyclist who said, "I want you to call me when this is done, so I can buy one, so I will know when there's a near cabbie who's trying to swipe me while I'm riding down the streets."
I have to say, having been someone who inline skated throughout the streets of Manhattan for at least 6 years solid, I would have loved to have that because there were more cabs that went after you.
So what is
far braver man than I am.
Right. What's the range on something like this? So will 50 feet away, 100 feet? Like, I guess it depends. LiDAR, I think, is pretty far, but what's the range? So, if say you were a cyclist, how soon would you know when somebody's approaching you?
Well, the range is very far, but because of that, it can be variable. We could set it for as close to 3 feet if you're walking in a crowd, or or maybe even up to 30 or 100 feet. But if you, at 100 feet, the only real use would be if you're walking around outside in a giant meadow, I suppose.
Okay.
So the further question is, with the actuators and the sensors, okay, it gives you a sense of the ball, or it gives you a sense of something. I take it that there's probably plans to give. I want to phrase this question right. Is there a way, or are you planning, I guess, a certain set of sensor reactions that wouldn't give you the physical feel of, say, a field with a mountain, but they're going to be, I guess, some sort of code or some way of feeling it that's different? It's not just a vibration in a circle, it would be something else, yes?
You mean to distinguish between the different materials?
I suppose I'm saying that too, yes, but I mean, your actuators are limited, right? It's a shape of a ball, a square. I'm going to vibrate a certain way to tell you that there's a pole or somebody in your way, but how do I distinguish between those items with the actuators telling me? Is there like a Morse code? Is it? You see, I don't know. I hope I'm making myself clear on that.
Oh, okay. So most things are fairly obvious just from the shape. I mean, a chair is shaped like a chair. A pole is shaped like a pole. A person is shaped like a person. If you want, we could convey more detailed information just from like you said, Morse code. You do different patterns depending on how hot something is, or maybe if you want, say we go as opposed to ba 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 for whether something is softer or harder. So this way you can distinguish between, say, the two good boys who are running behind you and might be tripping you sometime soon, as opposed to, say, the cab that's about to run you over.
Yeah, so give you a sense of size and speed.
Yes.
Interesting.
So this leads to another question. This has, as the original drawing showed, probably fire or safety, first responder situations where if you're in a smoky building, this could be your second set of eyes.
yes, we're actually hoping on reaching conclusions with discussions with like other fire departments around the nation. It's starting with Sydney, of course, as to whether or not they'd be interested in using our technology and integrating into their fire jackets.
No, I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So would that be integrating infrared sensors to see if a door is hot because there's a fire behind it or something? Is that what you're getting at?
I mean, the fun part about the software is that we could theoretically integrate any sensor we wanted. So we could integrate a thermal sensor. So,
right,
like, specifically, we could make a thermal-only version that could tell you not only where something is hot, or say above a certain temperature, but also how much hotter it is than, say, room temperature.
right.
Predator vision.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I could see this. Like if you layer all this stuff, like if you had like the Microsoft Connect camera layered with infrared sensing, layered with UV or whatever it is, you could get all kinds of information. Absolutely.
Cool.
The only thing is it gets expensive when you're talking about that many sensors, but
It looks like it would be difficult to get through airport security.
yeah, slightly.
A wee bit. So, Allan, to that point though, when do you think a product will be starting to be available on the market, or what's your sort of timeline, if you can allow that to us?
We're hoping to get something out on the market in about 2 to 3 years. And regarding that earlier question about the sensors, they're actually far cheaper than you would think.
Really?
We're really, the technology is really just getting to the point where these sensors are small enough and cheap enough that we can build something like this. I mean, 10 years ago, you probably would have needed to be Ford or Chevy in order to integrate anything like this into any materials.
And to wheel around a little wagon behind you to carry the
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, a car isn't exactly the most agile thing to be using in a house, so.
Depends on the house. Have you seen the Romney's house? Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah.
True.
Cool. Well, guys, I think we've learned a heck of a lot. That's a really remarkable product. I can see all kinds of applications. We have hit our mark of 30 minutes, so I want to thank everybody for joining us. This has been Pico Pros, an association with the PicoPros.com guys, Paul and Rich Margansky. Guys, tell them where else they can find more about your stuff.
PicoPros.com.
No, Facebook.com/PicoPros, YouTube.com/PicoPros, and Twitter.com/PicoPros. Those are our big ones. But
And
YouTube is the
Allan-
biggest draw.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, hey, is there a good way for anybody to find any information about you, Allan?
Absolutely.
Yes. Please visit our site, tactilenavigationtools.com, or we have or visit our Facebook group or Twitter page, TacNav Tools.
TacNav
Tools.
Check it out, guys. This is really cool stuff. And unfortunately, we only have a half hour, but there's a lot of questions I have that I want to dig into this more and get back to you guys, because there's some really cool stuff, especially if you ever seen the Sixth Sense stuff that Pranav Mystery did. God, now it's 6-7 years ago. Projection, embedded projection on yourself with the sensors. There's a whole lot you guys can do with this, and I think it's really exciting. So thank you for
stay in touch.
spending time with us.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool.
Thank you.
Guys, again, thank you. This has been Pico Pros Nation. Please go and visit avnation.tv for this kind of show and many, many more on the Pro AV and related electronics industry. That's avnation.tv. Thank you very much for watching. Talk to you soon.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
This is AV.
This
is AV Nation.
This is AV Nation.